Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead. Metalhead leaves you all right.
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Welcome back, Metalheads, to another episode of the Great Metal Debate Podcast. It's Xander yet again, back with another album review. Today, we will be looking at the Finnish black metal band called Moonlight Sorcery. This is the band's first full-length debut album titled Horned Lord of the Thorned Castle, released September 29th through Avant-garde Music. Since the band first begun in 2018, we, the very few fans, have been treated with 2 EPs and 3 singles. It is refreshing to finally get a full album, and this band absolutely delivers the goods. Moonlight Sorcery has always been more than just another black metal band. They have their guitar riffs that have a slight hint of power metal influenced in the sound, but it's their idea of a more melodic style. I would never compare them to a band like Winter Sun, but if you could find more similarities than I can, then maybe there's a chance these guys might have been a little inspired. Last year's EP, titled Piercing Through the Frozen Eternity, we got some noticeable guitar riffs that didn't quite break through that obvious power metal sound yet. Another EP that came out last year, titled Nightwind, Conqueror from the Stars, was a small improvement on the overall songwriting. But earlier this year, we got a single called In the Coldest Embrace, which opened the door to much better studio production quality. They also did an amazing job on that Deep Purple cover for the song Burn. As for this debut, we kick things off with the song titled To Withhold the Day. Instantly, we get an epic audible pummeling, followed by the low strings on the guitar fret, making the listener close their eyes to take it all in. These sounds eventually lead you into an infectious melodic hook. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about as soon as you hear it. Surprisingly, there is even a wonderful guitar solo in this song as well, which is much appreciated. Solos aren't the first thing you think of when you're talking about black metal, so even if they're not reinventing the wheel, it's still so refreshing. Next up is the aforementioned single from earlier this year. It's good, but we're not going to dwell on it for too long. In fact, we're going to skip ahead to The Secret of Steaming Blood. Love that title, by the way. That opening chug riff before the vocalist, Ruto Mili, screams the name of the song, The Secret of Steaming Blood, before the rest of the lyrics definitely got my blood steaming. Maybe the secret is to play this song. Let me tell you, despite its intentionally raw sound, the riffs are still groovy. It's all thanks to the 2 guitarists. One of them, who is labeled as the rhythm player, goes by the name Haska, and the other, who is the lead. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce it, for I already know that I'm going to butcher it, but he is also credited as the bassist. However, there is no drummer. All we can do is assume that it's a programmed drum machine, and I don't blame them. Drummers are extremely difficult to find. Speaking of not being able to pronounce things, we have the next track, which starts with the letter Y. It looks like it says Jon Simle. Those dots above the O and the A indicate that I did not say that correctly. But one thing I will say is that despite them being in the background, behind the vocals, the shredding guitar work is face-melting. Vihan Varhan Taka continues the trend of the guitar work knocking your socks off with those pinch harmonic style riffs. I didn't think I was going to be treated to such an imposing power metal presence in the overall tone, but boy am I glad it's here to stay. Throughout the entirety of this album's runtime, we get so many symphonic elements sprinkled into the songs. There's so much variety here, and I doubt that any fan of black metal would get bored. To further prove my point, we have a very long song title you might have to take a deep breath before saying out loud, but it's another incredible track. This one is titled The Moonlit Dance of the Twisted Jester's Blood-Soaked Rituals. It has a winding guitar riff and a few crazy yet maniacal laughs, and there are no vocals. That's right, this one is a jaw-dropping instrumental track. Most interludes like this are calm, but not this one. This one is relentless. Fire Burns the Horizon takes you straight back to the blistering cold black metal experience and casts a spell on you after its second half, which causes the listener to become even more entranced. The echoey sounding voice that you hear feels like it's coming from deep within a dark cave. Into the Silvery Shadows of Night is a relaxing tune, with haunting screeches, but I got really excited when I saw the song title for the concluding song, Sudden Tai, Woven Hour Part 2. Woven Hour was a song title on the Piercing Through the Frozen Eternity EP, so it's really cool that there's a great follow-up to it. It's an amazing way to end a solid debut album. When I say that Horned Lord of the Thorned Castle is a solid debut, I genuinely mean that. This is hands down one of my favorite black metal albums of the year, and this without question gets a 9.5 out of 10 from me. Unfortunately, Moonlight Sorcery doesn't seem to have a proper way that you can buy physical hard copies of their music or merch, as most of the websites have a questionable format. My advice on how to obtain their media outside of streaming would be to contact the band directly through their social media outlets. But digitally, you can listen to their music anywhere. Be sure to show your support by letting them know that they just might be the next big thing, and that Xander from the Great Metal Debate sent you.